Hello everyone, welcome back to another Star Wars Destiny video. This is the third episode in my question and answer series. So a few more of you wrote in with questions that you wanted answers. So we're going to go through the list here. The very first question came from Facebook, and it was, can Imperial War Machine resolve a modified die? So let's bring up Imperial War Machine. Um, the answer to that is no, but so Imperial War Machine, zero cost, the event, red villain. Resolve one of your red dice showing a resource cost for free. So the reason it doesn't work is it only resolves a single die and a modifier die. So the plus, like the blue +2 range, +2 melee, +2 whatever, needs to be resolved along with an unmodified version of that same symbol. So a +2 range damage needs to be resolved with a single die of base damage. So you need like we call it, there's either like black or blue. So the side will be black, the side will be blue if it's modified. So a single range damage can be resolved with a +2 range damage to essentially deal 3 damage. It doesn't work with Imperial War Machine because you first of all can't resolve modified dice on their own, and since you're only able to resolve a single die, it has to be a base damage die with a resource cost. There are some modified sides now that do have resource costs, such as I think the TIE Pilot's +3 range damage. It's +3, so it's a modified +3, but it also has a resource cost. So I think that's where the question really comes from. But the answer again is no. Since you're only resolving one die, it has to be a base die of anything. Imperial War Machine is still a really good card. I think it goes really well with something like Rocket Launcher. So you roll out that Rocket Launcher on its 3 damage, play Imperial War Machine, and resolve it for free. So that's the first question. We're going to be right back with our next question. And our next question comes from Kay Parker. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. I hope I am anyway. And they say, how come nobody plays with Luminara Blue Hero? I have 2 of her. I'm trying to make a deck with her. So let's bring up Luminara. Luminara is kind of a weird card. So weird as in the fact that her ability is best on non-uniques. So running her at elite, you generally can't pair her with two non-uniques when you're running her at her elite cost. So she's 17 for 2 dice. So you have 13 points to use for your other characters. I do like using her with Padawans. So you run a single Luminara. I think Luminara is kind of designed to get the most out of her, to be used just a single die and then paired with two non-uniques. Now, one reason a lot of people might not be playing her is meta currently is so fast, and Luminara, especially if you're running her in a deck with 2 non-uniques, is fairly slow. So you have to roll out Luminara, you have to roll out the non-unique, roll out the other non-unique, and then resolve. I do like her ability though to increase the value on a non-unique character's die by 3. So it goes up by 2 or by 3 if it's a non-unique. So essentially that makes Padawans, makes their 2 melee damage side do 5 damage if you use Luminara special. I've made a Luminara deck that I'm playing around with, which is just single Luminara and 2 Padawans, 4 speed, lightsabers, things like that. That's actually pretty fun, and there are ways to kind of cheat out some extra actions with 4 speed. So you can roll out 4 speed on, let's say, 4 speed on Luminara, 2 extra actions, roll in the Padawan, resolve some of the Padawan, or roll in the other roll in a Padawan, roll in another Padawan. There was one game where I, just for fun, I had it on 4 speed. I played my ally as a force on 4 speed, got two additional actions plus ambush, and then after I did those 2 actions, the ambush action, I resolved 4 speed again because my ally is a force, lets you resolve a die without removing it from your pool, so you can resolve it again. So that was essentially 4 speed action, 4 speed, 4 speed, ambush actions resolve 4 speed again, giving me 2 more actions. and plus ambush. So it's like ends up being like a 5 action turn. But anyway, back to Luminara. I think that, like I said, the reason I don't think a lot of people are playing her is the fact if you do her with 2 non-uniques, it ends up being a fairly slow deck. And with decks like Pomaz, just rolling in with fast hands and resolving right away, people probably don't really want to be playing a very slow deck, especially against decks like Pomaz, which can like defeat a character like Luminara probably within the first round. So Luminara, it's going to be interesting to see what they put out in Empire War. If there's anything that will kind of make her better, or like maybe some more blue weapons or blue abilities that can go on her to make her more viable in the meta. But I'm having fun just casually with my Luminara and Padawan deck, and I'll leave a link in the description to that so you can check it out. We're gonna move into our next question. And our final question for this episode comes to us from K-Man, and he writes in, so for the next episode, I have a question about the cost of these zero-cost upgrades like Fast Hands, Force Speed, and Sith Holocron. I feel it's a bit unfair getting free actions for free. What do you think of this? So free actions for free meaning that the upgrade costs 0, and you don't have to actually pay any resources to do it. I look at this in 2 ways. So first up, you have to consider the fact that these upgrades are taking up an upgrade slot. So each character only has 3 upgrades they can carry at a time. You play fast hands on one, it means you can only play 2 more that maybe have dice associated with them. That's one. The second thing is you also have to look at all these zero-cost upgrades can be bounced back to their owner's hand with Imperial Inspection. So Imperial Inspection hits anything that costs 2 or less, or says any upgrade. The way Imperial Inspection is worded is after one of your dice rolls a disrupt, you may exhaust the support, return an upgrade in play that costs 2 or less to its owner's hand. So let's say they roll out Ray with 4 speed, and you go and roll Unkar or Krennic or Thrawn when he comes out, and all those characters have disrupt. So basically, you just have Imperial Inspection go off and return their 4 speed to their hand. Sure, they can play it again because it costs 0, but they're not actually going to be able to roll that die until the character gets readied, either through some effect like Noble Sacrifice or Leadership or something like that, or the round ends. And also the fact that the actions that you get are free. However, some of them do require a little bit of setup. So Force Speed, you need to first of all you need to play Force Speed on your character, and then it'll pass to your opponent. They can then play Imperial Inspection. And as soon as you roll it, they can bounce it. That's one, like I said. Another is the fact that with Force Speed, you again play it, you need to roll it and resolve it. So it takes a few actions to actually get those extra actions in play. It's a little faster with Ray because of her ability to take an action or an extra action after you play an upgrade on her, and then if that upgrade happens to have ambush, you get even more. So with Ray, you can play Force Speed on her and immediately roll it, and then your opponent they have a little less time to react to it. Fast Hands, again, it takes up an upgrade slot, so you do get some free resolutions off of Fast Hands, but again, it gets hit by Imperial Inspection. If the character that has Fast Hands gets defeated, Fast Hands doesn't have redeployed or anything like that. So I'm not too concerned with some of the extra actions. I mean, some of the extra actions I've seen have been fairly insignificant in game. So playing against somebody that had 4 speed, they rolled it out. I did my thing. They resolved it, did 2 more actions. They used the other action to like roll out another character. That other character didn't roll so well, and they discarded it. They used their second action to re-roll, and then I was able to, going back to me, I was able to mitigate dice and things like that. So sometimes the actions that they get from Force Speed aren't all that great. I played one time where I was playing on Tabletop Simulator with Ray Obi-Wan, and I had Force Speed on Ray. I resolved it. I rolled Obi-Wan, and then used my second action to focus. I think his other die into like 3 melee, and then my opponent then was able to react to that because that's one action to roll Obi-Wan, second action to focus because I didn't have anything particularly good in that roll. So I don't think the extra actions, like I said, like I mentioned earlier in the video, the thing with Luminara was kind of a just a silly thing where I was able to resolve force speed through my ally as a force and then take like 5 extra actions. But that's just something that you have to have. For that to work, you have to have force speed out. It has to be on special. You have to have my ally as a force, the 2 resources to pay for it, and then hopefully you can do something with those extra actions. But most of the time, that's probably not going to happen. At least in that situation, I just happen to have, like the right cards in hand, the right roll, and things like that. So I don't really think it's unfair. I think the one thing that feels a little bit more unfair, it's not fast hand, it's not any of those cards. It's actually Maz, because Maz essentially has essentially fast hands built into her already without taking up one of your upgrade slots. Because you can roll her, then resolve 2 dice. And the bonus on her is that they don't have to be dice that are hers. Some people are calling for erratas on her maybe. Um, so I don't know if that's going to happen, but there are definitely. I hope they kind of scale back the action cheating in Empire at War. We're going to see if there's any erratas or any kind of cards that award or thoughtful playing and not just rolling everything out and resolving it right away. So again, I want to thank K-Man for his question. That's going to do it for this episode. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Remember, if you want to ask a question, just feel free to put it in the comments below or follow the link to the form. It'll take you to a Google form. Just fill it out, and I can get your questions that way as well. I again want to thank you for watching, and take care.